Hey out there, and welcome to day 25 of our 30 days of yoga. I'm Kate, and I'm glad you're here. So as I intimated in yesterday's class, today's class is going to be focused on prep work to getting into headstand. Now that does not mean you have to do headstand today. We will play with the idea of going into it, and if you feel comfortable, it's all you. If not, there are plenty of places to stop before you hit your discomfort zone. So a couple of blocks would be awesome. A blanket, if you have one. If you are on a carpeted floor where you are and you have paper plates, please go ahead and grab those paper plates. I know, sounds goofy, but let's give it a whirl. Find a quiet spot, roll out your mat, and let's do this. So we are going to start on our backs. Go ahead and lay down. Once you get down there, you're going to keep your feet flat on the mat. Let your arms drop out to the sides. Take a moment here. Close your eyes. And just breathe. Beautiful. Pull those knees in. Rock a little bit side to side. Add some circles on your low back. So this is going to be less about flow and more kind of, I don't like to say drills, but more things that you can do in your practice to get you more comfortable with going upside down. All right, so take your arms out to the sides, let your knees drop over to the right. So we got to start by warming up our core a little bit, but let's start here. Inhale, bring it up through the middle. And when you exhale, drop those knees over to the left. Feel your right shoulder sink down. You can use your left hand on your knees if you want. Yes. Okay, and then come on up through the middle. So I find just waking up my core a little bit, my low belly and my hip flexors helps me to get into a kind of tighter position. So when I want to lift into a headstand, I can do it. I don't know if that makes any kind of sense, but I'm trying to give you an idea of why we're doing what we're doing today. So take a second with your feet flat on the mat, and we did this in our core class. You want to feel your belly button drag in and feel your back body pressed into the floor. And keep that and draw your knees in. You can take your knees closer to your chest, and you're going to take your hands on the fronts of your thighs. Your elbows can rest right on the floor. Take a breath in, and when you exhale, press your thighs into your hands and squeeze. Inhale, relax, and exhale, squeeze. Feel your low belly kind of zip in and up. And keep going with this. Inhale is relax, exhale, and squeeze. We're gonna do 10 of these. So I believe we're on 5. Give a nice squeeze and release. You got it. And squeeze. Just waking it up, right? I think this is like 7. Here we go with 8. 9. Quietly cursing at home. 1 more. 10. Squeeze it in. Okay, so if that felt good and that was challenge enough, we're gonna do 10 more just like that. If you want a little more challenge, you're gonna take your knees away from you a bit so your thighs come more perpendicular to the floor. If your low back really lifts off the floor when you do this, then rewind, pull your knees closer in until you can hitch your back into the floor, okay? All right, here we go. Find your position here. And when you exhale, squeeze. And notice now with the legs farther away, there's more work to be done. And that's okay. You have to hold. Even when you're relaxing, there's a slight amount of engagement in the core. It's okay. If it gets exhausting, draw your knees closer in. I've lost count. Let's do 4 more. Here's 4, 3. Don't talk and count, right? 2, 1. Drop your feet to the mat, but do so with awareness and just let your belly relax for a second. Okay. There you go. And now you're gonna pull your knees in again. Take them wide this time. Bring your hands up between your inner thighs and press your palms together. So for me, when I come up into headstand, I bring my legs close to my body so I can find a pivot point, and we'll get there. We'll talk about that. So this helps me kind of wake up that part, right? So you can press your palms. You can keep your shoulders and your head on the floor the whole time. When you exhale, you're just gonna squeeze your knees in and relax. If you wanna add the crunch, you can add the crunch. I'm skipping it today because there is enough work going right here as you pull in and squeeze. And even better, if you want, pull your inner thighs toward each other as you squeeze in, like you could squeeze your arms. Maybe we're on 6, so let's do it here. 7, 2 more. And 10. Hold it here and squeeze. Feel those inner thighs squeeze toward the elbows. This is a great work for some crow too, if you're into it. And when you exhale, soften your feet back down to the floor. And you can swish your knees side to side. And we're gonna do 1 more. Okay? So let your arms rest by your sides. If you find that you have a low back ick, you can always take your hands underneath your tailbone there. Now take your legs straight up. Yeah. Zip that belly button in and up. So you've got your low belly lifting here. And now you're just gonna kick your heels up toward the ceiling. Don't use your hands and try not to use momentum. You're using this like squeeze to create the lift. That's it. We're at 6, squeeze. 3 more. 8, 9, and 10. Hug your knees in, rock a little bit side to side. And let your feet drop to the floor. Arms come by your sides, shoulder blades in. Push into your feet and simply lift your hips. Press the center of the back of your head down. Feel your tailbone lengthen and just let this front of your body, your belly, let it stretch out and soften here. And then slowly lower it back down. Draw your knees in. You can roll to one side or roll straight forward. Come on into table. Get stuck halfway up. And work your way into table, and from table, a couple of rounds of cat and cow. So you get to stretch your belly a little bit more. And if you've been around all these 25 days or 24 and a half, you know that when you end up in cat and cow that you can move any way you need to. You're not just stuck in this rounding and arching. Yes. 1 more round. And squeeze and round. Back through neutral. Spin your fingertips around toward your knees. Maybe they point straight back. Maybe they come somewhere towards straight back. It's all good. We're just gonna stretch a little bit into the wrists. So you wake up your forearms a little bit. You can start to pedal out. Peel one hand, the heel of one hand up, and then go side to side a little bit. Just waking up the wrists, the forearms, the hands. Yes. And then sit your weight back for just a moment. Peel your hands up, shake them out. Do a few little splatters here. Some of my favorites. And then come back into your table, backs of your hands to the mat. You can keep your weight behind you a bit more than you normally would. Spread through your fingers, press into the fingernails here, and curl your fingers into fists. And release. And curl them in. Again, release. And curl them in. Sit your weight back on your heels one more time. Shake it out. Roll out your wrists. Yeah. Okay. From here, we're going to come forward, work your way onto your forearms, and interlace your fingers. Okay. So you can have your toes tucked, untucked, whatever feels better for you. We're going to move into the shoulders now. So bring your chin forward and press it back. And bring it forward. And press back. And keep going. I got 2 more. Last one here. If you want to keep going like this, if this feels good, you can keep going 5 more like that, or you can lift your knees, come through a dolphin, and come forward. And press back. And you can use your core to lift yourself up and back. Again, forward. And squeeze. If this feels too much, bring those knees down. 2 more. Last one. Yes, drop your knees to the mat. Take your hips to your heels. Take a moment here to just relax. Let your arms come by your sides, palms face up. Let the heads of your arm bones drop down. And breathe. Forehead drops into the floor. Okay? Okay. Now from here, you're gonna come on forward, downward facing dog. Spread your fingers, tuck your toes, take your hips up, stretch them back. Take a couple of breaths here. Familiar territory. That's it. And tiptoe those feet forward. We're gonna do just an easy flow to get into your legs a little bit. Don't wanna forget about your legs too much here. Inhale, halfway lift, shoulder blades in, spine long. Exhale and fold, soften your knees if you need it. On your inhale, press into your feet. Come all the way up, Urdhva Hastasana. Reach. Exhale, go right back over those legs, fold it out. Inhale, halfway lift. When you exhale, downward facing dog, walk it back. And take your gaze forward and step your right foot up between your thumbs. Drop your back knee, pop onto your fingertips, sink your hips. Inhale. Exhale, pull your hips back, work to straighten that front leg. You can grab the blocks, bring them underneath your hands if your hamstring needs a little more space. Rock forward, press into your right foot, inhale, take your arms, reach them up. Bend your elbows, right forearm comes behind the left. Grab a hold of the forearms or the elbows, drop your arm bones in, lengthen your tailbone, but lift into your chest. Take those arms back behind you. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, hands to the floor, step back, downward facing dog. Rock forward into plank and hold your plank. Press into the floor. Drop your knees to the floor. Take a moment here. We're in table. Maybe your knees are a little bit farther back. It's okay. It doesn't matter. You want to keep your torso from your ribs down to your tailbone as steady as you can. You're going to drop your chest down so the tips of your shoulder blades pull in toward each other. Push into the floor. Press your upper back toward the ceiling. And soften. So this isn't a cat-cow, but more serratus kind of push-up. We're working smaller muscles. Press away. And drop it in. And press away. And drop it in. One more. And drop it in. Okay, so we're here on our table. Walk your hands back a little bit so they're closer to your knees. Hands about shoulder distance apart. Tuck your chin in toward your chest, and you're gonna take the top of your head to the mat. Now, if you come too far forward on your forehead, you're gonna feel it, and it'll feel really wonky here. And if you come too far back on the back of your head, you're gonna kind of curl in a little bit, and that's gonna feel wonky. You wanna find that sweet spot right in between those two extremes, which might take a couple of kind of dabbles at it. All right, so hands a little closer in. Take the crown of your head or that sweet spot right down. So come onto your forehead and feel how that feels. Like, oh my gosh, I don't have much leverage here. And then curl your chin into your chest and come toward the back of your head. And oh my gosh, I don't have a lot of leverage here either. There's nothing I can really push into. But if you come to that sweet spot, then you can actually feel where you can press your head into the mat and lift your shoulders away from the floor. So hands are still on the floor. Lift your shoulders away from your ears and press the top of your head gently into the floor. Take a breath here. Then untuck your toes if they're tucked. Rock your hips back to your heels. Make a pillow with your forearms and pause. Hopefully that feels okay on your neck. We're gonna step it up next time. So if that doesn't feel good, then we're gonna come right back to this pose here, this variation of rabbit pose, Sarangasana, okay? Okay, come on forward, stretch it back, downward facing dog. Spread your fingers, press into those hands, max out this down dog. Shoulder blades in your back, feel your sides lengthen. Shake out your head. Whew. And then gaze forward. Step your left foot up between your thumbs. Drop your back knee. You can sink your hips. Grab your blocks if you want them. Extend forward into your chest. Inhale. When the exhale comes, pull your hips back. Work to straighten that left leg. Blocks if you want them under your hands. Sitting bones stretch back behind you. Inhale, rock forward. Press into this left foot. Take your arms, reach them up. Left elbow or left forearm comes behind the right one. Grab your wrists, your forearms, your elbows. Soften your shoulders down. Scoop your tailbone, lift into your chest. It's a lot. I'm asking a lot here, but you got this. Take a breath. Exhale, hands to the floor, step back. Downward facing dog. Inhale, float forward into plank. And now we're gonna do those little serratus push-ups in plank. You can always lower your knees. So do you, right? Press into the floor, feel that upper back round. Keep your lower half steady. Soften your shoulder blades in toward each other. Press and round that upper back and soften. It's hard, right? Press and lift. Just one more. Shoulder blades pull in. Press the floor away. Lower your knees to the mat. Slide your hands back towards your knees. Now, if you've got a blanket nearby, you can grab your blanket and plop it out on the floor. We're going back into that Sarangasana variation. So tuck your chin gently in. Take that sweet spot down onto the floor. Now I got some padding here, so you can press into your hands. Feel your shoulders lift away from your ears, sides of your neck stay nice and long, and press gently into the top of your head. If you feel comfortable here, pop onto your fingertips. Feel more weight move into the top of your head. Stay here, or you can play with taking your hands off the floor, and maybe you take those hands, interlace your fingers behind you and reach up, Sarangasana, rabbit pose here. Full breath. Release your hands down. Slide your hips back to your heels. Make a pillow with those forearms and rest. Okay. So one more thing before we get back into headstand stuff. You're gonna grab the back end of your mat and fold it up. Just like that. All right? And if you're on a hardwood floor, you can have your blanket And you're gonna bring that onto the hardwood floor or whatever floor you're on. If you're on a carpet, and we're gonna pretend these are paper plates, you can grab your paper plates and we're gonna use those, all right? So from here, you're gonna step on 1 foot on each paper plate if you've got it, or 1 foot, both feet, red foot, blue foot, onto the blanket. All right, here we go. Buckle up. This should have come with a warning. All right, so you're gonna walk your hands forward. If your hamstrings are tight, bend your knees, it's all good. You're gonna take your hands forward, stack your shoulders over your wrists. Now pull your knees close into your chest, come onto the balls of your feet, and now you're gonna take this blanket and slide it back. Yeah, keep your shoulders stacked over your wrists as much as you can. Same deal in rewind. Pull your knees in. Straighten your legs. Okay? I know, super fun. Shift your weight into your hands. Dig in with those fingertips. Grip those basketballs underneath you. You can come onto the balls of your feet. Kick it back. Find your plank. Press into the floor. Drag those suckers back in. One more. Ready? Shift forward. Take your legs back. Sound effects make this way more fun. So add your own along the way. Press into the floor. Feel your hips lift. Drag, 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 drag. Ugh. And fold. Take a moment here. Grab opposite hand to elbow and sway a little bit side to side. So these are a great thing to do when you want to work your core and you're bored with what you're doing, right? So you can take them out to the side, you can do all sorts of things, one leg, whatever. We're gonna stop there because I don't want to beat you up too badly, but now that we've done that, you're gonna feel like everything else is easier. So go ahead and step off your your paper plates, and go ahead and unfold your mat there. Okay, all right, so now we're gonna work back into a dolphin posture here. All right, so come on to all fours. We're all over the place today. And lower onto your forearms. Interlace your fingers. Press into the floor. You're gonna tuck your toes, lift your hips. All right, so bend your knees and walk your feet in. Try to get it so your shoulders stack over your elbows and you can let your head just hang right down. So your head's kind of between your upper arms here, right? And now soften your shoulder blades, lower the top of your head like you could lower it to the floor. Then press into your forearms, lift it up, lower down. Heads and the arm bones pull in, shoulder blades pull up, right? Press the floor away, lift, and lower, and lift, and lower. Again, lift, and lower. One more, lift, and lower. Okay. So why do we do that? We do that because when you get upside down, it's really important to be able to control how much weight you want to put on your head. There's no, I have to put this much weight on my head. There is only, I can put this much weight on my head and I can give myself more support if I need it. So if we work those up and down, you start to strengthen the muscles that help to keep that pressure into the floor with the forearms. Boom. Okay, so here we go. Grab your blanket again. And we're gonna work tripod. So tripod is different. There are 2 different variations here of our headstand. And tripod may be the easier to get into, but it is the more strenuous on your neck, and you'll see why in a second. So take your blanket back out in front of you, and we can work Sarangasana first. So bring your hands, fingertips kind of underneath the blanket here. You want to definitely be on the mat, not the blanket. Lift your booty off your heels and then take your head down to the floor. That same spot. Now you want to be able to check out your hands. If your hands are super close, you're going to have to like do some weird stuff here. See how my elbow is not stacked over my wrist? So when I go upside down, weird shit's going to happen. So you want to try to stack as best you can, kind of monitor here, elbows over this wrist. So everything's going straight, bunk down. Okay? Now you can push into the floor, lift your shoulders. All right, this is where we stop if you want to. If you're feeling like, okay, I got this, neck nice and long, top of the head pressed down, heels of the hands really rooting into the mat, maybe you lift onto the knees. And this is good, right? You can hang here and you can come down. You don't have to stay here. If this feels really good, you can take one knee, bring it in, and rest it on your elbow. Set it down, take the other knee, rest it on your elbow, pause, drop your knees, take a break. You get this little buzzing in your head. Ooh, yeah, all right, okay. So now we're gonna try to incorporate both knees. Please don't go past your comfort zone here. I know that like we have all those quotes that are like, life starts at the edge of your comfort zone. You know what, like in headstand, life does not start at the edge of your comfort zone. Life happens in your comfort zone until you feel like your comfort zone can be pushed a little bit. That's what I'm saying. I like discomfort, I support it, not in headstand, not in leading up to headstand, no. All right, so Sarangasana again. Bend your elbows, take that sweet spot down. Press into the floor, my elbows stacked, right? Check them out. Are your elbows over your wrists-ish? Yes, good. Feel your shoulders lift up. Okay, we're good here. Press into the heels of your hands, dig into the floor with those nail pads. Come on up. Woo, okay, we're here. Maybe one knee comes on. Now we're in like our grade school gym class. We got our tripod action here. Both feet can come up. Yes, if you feel comfortable, you want to pull those knees in and just start thinking about stacking your hips a little bit higher over your shoulders. So those little crunches we did in the beginning, when the knees are out and you pull in, you can do a couple of those. If you want to play and take the feet up, you absolutely can. That's kind of not what this one's about, but if you're there and you want to do it, you can pause the video and work into doing it. So we're not at a wall here. And maybe this is like controversial, but I prefer to work headstand away from a wall. That way I know that I'm not gonna go up. And generally the students around me are not gonna go up until they feel 100% confident that they can support themselves to go up in the air, which is why I've gotten a wall. That's me. If you'd rather go differently, then do it. But I suggest middle of the room practice here, okay? So that's tripod, okay? Now the other one is on the forearms and is way more supportive for your head and your neck, but is a little more challenging to get into. We're gonna go for it because I've already talked about it. And then we can be done. You ready? Okay. Come onto your forearms, interlace your fingers. So I've had teachers in the past talk about like tucking this pinky. So you've got this level hand on the floor. I'm not into that, but you can play with that. That's an option. I just keep my hands as they are. I'm not a pinky tucker, but maybe you are, right? And then from here, you're gonna take your chin toward your chest and take that sweet spot on the floor again. Same idea, except now instead of pressing into the heels of your hands, you're gonna push into your forearms, okay? Okay. Now lift your knees, walk your feet in. And this could be it. Now you can play with how much weight you put on your head. Maybe like 50%, maybe like 10%. What can we control here with the muscles in your arms and your upper back and all of that good stuff? Okay. Now you say, what's next? Walk your feet in a little bit more. And now here is where those little curls come into play. Low belly lifts, one heel can come up. Maybe you can dig those elbows into the floor and the other heel comes up, right? And then maybe we stack and you come up. So look, a whole shit ton of effort goes into getting your feet off the floor. And I don't know if that translated in the video. I hope you could see that there is like a moment of, ooh, until your feet get off the floor. So don't kick yourself if the first time you try it, you don't get up off the floor. I mean, that's like the 1,041st time I've done it. It just comes with practice. So one more, and then I promise that we will rest. We forgot to use the blocks. It's fine. Come onto your forearms. We'll use that some other time. I'll show you that drill some other time. Okay. Interlace your fingers. Curl your chin in. Top of your head to the mat. Here we go. Press down. Shoulder blades lift. So your shoulders lift away from your ears. None of this squinchy, junky crap. Make some space. And then lift those knees and walk your feet in. Okay. Now soften your knees, walk your feet a little closer, and feel where you can roll toward the tips of your toes and try to get your butt to stack over your shoulders. And then there's the moment. There it is. There's a struggle where those knees pull close in, and we go up. And maybe one leg goes up. Maybe the other leg goes up. Woo, I don't know. I'm wobbly. But play. Somewhere in there, there's a tipping point. It's a press down, it's a zip up, and a gentle lean back. It's a lot, all right? So if you have any questions about that, please let me know in the comments and I'll try to address, and maybe we can come back to it in another video. But in the meantime, fold up your blanket, take a seat. And pause here. It gets the energy flowing and certainly the heat moving around. Drop your chin to your chest. Shake your head a little bit side to side. And roll your right ear up over your right shoulder. Drop it down through center. Take it up to the other side. And down through center. One more time, up and over to the right. And down through center. And up and over to the left. And through center one more time. And lift your head. Take your gaze up. You're gonna hook your fingertips on your collarbones here and pull gently down. Take this lower jaw and stretch it away. And then pull that low jaw in. Drop your chin to your chest. Take your hands to the base of your skull, interlace those fingers. Drop your elbows in toward your ears. Give yourself a stretch to the back of your neck. And lift your head. Pause here. And press your palms together to Anjali Mudra. And bow your head. And thank you so much for being here today. I hope this was helpful. If you want to now transition into another shorter practice so you can get your actual vinyasa in, this is a great kind of plug-in for other practices. I have a funky flow for you tomorrow. In our last few days of 30 days of yoga, we're going to try to have as much fun as possible. So thank you for being here. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think. I'd love to hear from you. And I will see you again tomorrow. Make it a great day.